Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time watching, then welcome. Obviously I've got a different backdrop today. This is because I've just come back home to New Zealand and I don't have my setup all set up. So I'm currently making do with what I have. Now today we are going to be playing around with the Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette, and obviously the first thing you notice is the gorgeous packaging. This is the box that it comes in. Wow, I just noticed this little snake detail, that's really cool there. So yeah, this I got sent directly to New Zealand instead of getting it sent to my place in Australia, because I didn't want to risk it not arriving in time and having it being stuck in Australia. So we open it up and you can see the gorgeous velvet. I need to take it out. You can't really see. Oh yeah, there we go. It's a velvet packaging, which is gorgeous, and it has the little clasp here. The first thing I noticed, I opened this last night, and I don't know if this has happened to anyone else. I haven't seen it anywhere online, but my little clasp doesn't clip on, and when I shut it, there's like this kind of overhang here, so it doesn't actually line up properly. And the clasp on the front, can you see that? It's like on an angle, so it's not like put on properly, which I'm quite disappointed about, because I want this to be able to close properly and I want it to line up, and it cost me $100, and New Zealand dollars or Australian dollars, they're pretty much the same. So when you're paying that much money for a palette, you want it to be perfect, and that is just one thing that I noticed, a little bit of a letdown. We're just going to have to see how the shadow actually applies, because it's not the biggest deal, but yeah, I would expect it to be, you know, able to close properly and all that. Let's open it up and have a look. I do really love this packaging. I've never seen any other eyeshadow palette that is velvet. So these are all the shades. They don't, like, the camera doesn't, you know, it doesn't do it justice, because in real life, especially these shimmery shadows, they really are really gorgeous. Yeah, I can't really, there's not really much else for me to say about them. I was going to do swatches like I did for the Conspiracy palette, but Jeffree already did that, so I don't really see any point, and I don't want to make the video much longer than it has to be, because I know that I have a short attention span and some of you guys probably do too. So I'm going to peel this off. This is like my favorite part. Oh, it's so satisfying. Alright, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do just yet. I might just sit here and stare at it for like 10 minutes until I decide. Okay, so I just took a quick break and ate a sausage roll and stared at my palette, and I've decided what I'm going to do. So let's get on into the tutorial. So I've applied my eyeshadow base, and the base I'm using is the P.Louise base in the shade Rumour 0, which is the white one. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with this shade here called Blood Queen. And I'm going to apply that using a small fluffy eyeshadow brush. So just for comparison's sake, that is the smaller brush next to the regular size blending brush. So that's just going to help get the colour in a more defined area, but also keeping it nice and blended. And I'm going to apply this to the crease as my darkest crease colour, and I'm going to kind of blend that out just a tiny bit, just so that when I apply the next shade, that's going to blend in a lot easier. And I'm going to start off by just stamping it on and getting that packed on, and then I'm going to go in and start blending after that. Alright, so we've got that dark purple in the crease and slightly blended out. You can see it's like, it's not fully blended, it's just a light kind of diffused edge, which is just what we want, so that's good. The next colour that I'm going to go in with is this shade here called Vivid Mood. Yep, I always, every single time, have to double check that I've said the right name, because there are so many different shade names that it's hard to keep track of them all. So I'm applying that in the crease as well. So I'm going to be taking a domed crease brush and basically doing what I've just done, but I'm doing it slightly above the darker purple, and I'm going to go half on what I've already got and half above. So doing the same thing as before, and I'm dabbing and packing it on, and then afterwards I'm going to go through and slightly blend it. And when blending, we want to aim to do little circular motions. Sometimes I find this hard because I would always do like swiping motions, but you don't really get as good as a blend by doing that. So I would recommend using circular motions instead. Okay, now to blend those all out, I'm taking a fluffy blending brush and I'm going in with this shade here called Deviant, and I'm not going to bother stamping it on. I'm just going to take that colour in the brush and swirl it around on the edges of what I've done just to diffuse that a bit more. And then I'm going to go back in with those same, well, I'm going to go back in with all 3 shades really, and I'm just going to keep adding and blending until we have a nice smooth blend. Okay, so the crease colours are blended out nicely, although in real life you can't see, but on the camera you can see the kind of lines where I've put each colour, so that's kind of frustrating, but no matter how much I blend, I can't get it to go away. So I'm just going to hope for the best and see how it turns out once I do the rest of the look. I'm sure that I won't be able to see it at that point. I think quite often this happens, and once I finish the look you can't even tell, and I just like wasted all that time blending for like hours. But yeah, never mind. Next thing that I want to do is I'm going to take a flat rounded concealer brush and some micellar water, and I'm going to use this to carve out the crease and remove the product that's on the eyelid, and then I'm going to wipe it off using a cotton tip. And this is just so that once we place the base on top of that, it's going to be a nice white base instead of having the purple mix through it. And having a nice white base is going to make sure that the colours that we place on top of it are as vibrant and true to colour as they can be. Okay, so the eyelid is nice and clean, and the next thing I'm going to do is going back in with my P.Louise base and another flat rounded concealer brush, and I'm going to carve out the crease. I am doing a halo eye, but I do like to carve out the entire crease and blend all the colours in at once, because I just think it gets a better blend than if you were to just carve out the centre of the eye, and it also helps to get a more rounded shape. Okay, so the crease is carved out, and now, like I said before, we're doing a halo eye, so I'm going to go in with those 3 shades of purple, so the darkest shade on the outer corners, and then moving my way in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the 2 darkest shades first and get those kind of blended out a little bit. Then I'm going to add the center highlight shade before I add in the lightest purple, because I just think that that helps it to blend in a lot nicer. So for the center of the eye, I'm going to take this shade here called Wet Jewel, and I'm just going to apply that using an all over shader brush. Alright, so that is the top of the eye complete. And now we're going to smoke out the lower lash line, which I've already done on this eye. And to make the colours stand out a bit more, I have applied a base, or the same base, to under the eye. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, that looks a little bit crazy, but we must trust the process. Okay, and now to do the under eye, I'm just going to use the same 3 crease colours. So I'm going to start with the darkest shade first and move my way down, well, to the lighter shades. Oh, and I'm going to use the same brushes that I used in the crease. Okay, now I'm just going to go do my face makeup, and then I will be back to continue with the tutorial. Okay, so while I was at it, I also applied a nude lipstick. The lipstick that I applied was my Lime Crime Lip Blaze in the shade Cash. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. So I'm going to just use that same shade that I used in the center of the lid, which is Wet Jewel, and I'm going to apply it with 2 different brushes. So the fluffy highlighting brush for my cheekbones, and then the small mini eyeshadow brush for everywhere else basically. Next I'm going to apply some eyeliner to my waterline, and it's actually lip liner, but same thing. So the product I'm going to use is my Kylie lip pencil in the shade Kourt K. Okay, so the last thing left, the last thing left to do now is just to apply mascara and lashes. So I'm using my handy dandy XO Beauty Faux Mink lashes. These ones, these are in the style Thunder. I'm going to pop these on off camera and then I'll be back to show you guys the completed look. Okay, so here we have the completed look with lashes. You can't really see on the camera just how like vibrant the purple is. Like yeah, it's actually got to be probably my favorite purple eyeshadow that I have. It's just like true like purple, you know, like deep true purple. Yeah, I think the natural lighting probably shows it a lot better. It's oh my god, these flies. It's not too cool tone, but and not too warm tone, but it's a really nice medium, which yeah, I'm very happy about. And I really like using this shade on the cheekbone here for the highlighter. I think it's a really like shimmery, chunky, glittery kind of shadow, and that is the type of highlighter that I really like to use. This is the look that I've done before using a different palette, but pretty much the same. And I was kind of second guessing myself to on actually, you know, should I do this look, because it is very, very, very similar to a look that I did using my Heaps of Sweets palette by XO Beauty, but the colours are slightly different and I never did a tutorial for that look, so I figured I might as well do it. And also when I see a really nice shimmery eyeshadow, I straight away think like I want to do a halo eye with that, because I just think it looks really nice and the best use of a shimmery eyeshadow. I'm very excited to use some more shades in the palette. I might not get a chance to use it again for another few days, but yeah, I'm just going to be constantly thinking about how I can combine the different shades into different looks, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys some really, really good tutorials using this palette. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, then please thumbs up and subscribe, and tick that little bell button so you can get notified every time I post a new video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.